this. And so I want to welcome everyone to our Magdeburg presentation from Sister Cities of Nashville. I have Lena and Benita from Magdeburg, Lauren, who is from America, and she traveled to Germany a few years ago, and Berkeley and Tom, who are on our board and are going to tell us a little bit about Magdeburg today. So I'm going to turn it over to them and welcome, and I hope you enjoy this program.
Okay.
Thank you. We've been sister cities with Magdeburg for, I think, since 1993? Is that right, Berkeley? Would you remember?
I'm inviting Joel in because he's the expert on that. But
right, I'm a more recent addition to the Magdeburg team than Joel and Berkeley, but I think we've been sister cities since 1993. Magdeburg is a great, very interesting city. It's got a varied history, and it's interesting to drive around in Magdeburg and see all the different influences architecturally and socially and culturally from the different eras that Magdeburg has experienced. It's a very rich and diverse community, and we have really enjoyed our partnership with them. Berkeley, how many times have you been to Magdeburg?
I believe I've been 6 times.
Okay, I've only been once, so yeah. you would know better than I.
If you host a student for a year, their family's really good about inviting you back over to stay with them. So I went for a Steuben conference when we celebrated the partnership between Magdeburg and General von Steuben, who came over and helped Washington during the Revolution with his military exploits. So that's one of the connections between Magdeburg and the United States that goes way back. And then also have been back for Nashville Days, which is a new celebration that we started a couple of years ago, where Magdeburg is celebrating country music, and we sent over some folks to represent both the country music industry and restaurants. It was interesting. Some of the things that I love about Magdeburg is it is fascinating for Americans being in former East Germany. When I studied in Germany in the 1970s, I never dreamed that we would be able to cross that wall. I never dreamed it would come down. So it's amazing to be able to go back now and travel freely and discover a whole new half of Germany that I wasn't able to get to know when I went earlier. And also I get to speak German in Magdeburg because there are many older people who didn't learn English as well as the young people speak. You guys speak it excellent. But the older people are happy to let me speak my bad German rather than having to listen to their bad English, which is something that I appreciate tremendously. And I'll say 2 other things that I love about Magdeburg. The Hundertwasser House is, you mentioned interesting architecture, is like something out of Dr. Seuss, influenced by the Spanish architect Gaudi. Just amazingly colorful and interesting. And the Wasserstraßenkreuz, which is this crazy water bridge over a canal that only German ingenuity could come up with. And it's just an amazing just engineering feat, which I appreciate in particular. So those, some of the highlights. And then, as every good German city, it has a lovely cathedral that's really interesting to visit, and lots of an old fortress that's fun. And then the Century Park, built for the fair, also has, I think, the largest wooden structure in all of Europe. It's very cool. That has a terrific museum, science museum inside of it. So great place to visit. I've loved being able to go and get to know where all those students that I've hosted have come from.
I've also found it interesting. I mean, the people are a big highlight of Magdeburg too, and obviously, and just the influence of the East German days is strong, more so in the adults than in the kids, but you also still see it somewhat ingrained in the culture of the kids coming on today too. A couple of years ago, we had some students come over and we went to an arboretum, and it was a muddy day and we were doing some digging, and one of the kids had on these white tennis shoes, and he just took 2 Kroger plastic bags and stuck them on his feet and started digging in the dirt with a shovel. And that is, you know, to me, that says a lot about the ingenuity, just the can-do attitude that you see among the people in Magdeburg. It's there in West Germany, but it's not the same. The people that experience East Germany just figured out how to get along and get by, and had a can-do attitude, just to be able to work with what they had. One of the fathers of one of the kids when I was over there showed me his old Trabi manual for the car, and it was evident from we get these owner's manuals here, and it says when you get to 50,000 miles, take it into the garage and have this done. The manual, the Trabi manual, showed you how to do it yourself, and so I think that was just a lot of what people there experienced, and is so much different than the West German culture. And you also see it in the family relationships. Women in East Germany worked. That was just a given. There were no housewives. Not to say anything bad about a housewife. That's a tremendously huge job, and believe me, I never put in an application to be a housewife because it was a lot more work than I wanted to do. But nevertheless, I mean, that culture just has continued, and the expectations and just how people experience daily life is still different today.
Kind of touching how you were talking about the cars a little bit. One of the biggest shocks for me was when I got picked up from the Berlin airport and we were driving on the interstate to Magdeburg, and I realized how fast we were going in our car, and that there was no speed limit on the highway. It was very scary.
Yeah, it's something very special. It's true.
Yeah, I had recently on Facebook, I had a challenge to put all these different things that you had done in your life, and one of them was the fastest you'd ever driven, and mine was 260 kilometers per hour on the Autobahn in Germany. So
yeah, it's allowed to drive how fast you want.
Yeah. But for us, it's just very normal. It's fine.
So I'll pop in here. If you guys want to talk a little bit about what life is like in Germany right now with the stay at home, and kind of compare and contrast what's going on there and what's going on here, I think students would really like to hear about the similarities and differences.
Okay, well, we have also been staying home for how long now?
Oh, I think 8 weeks.
8 weeks nearly. And yes, but school starts next week for us again, but only in groups. Not all of us come back to school, but only a few. And then after day, some more people join us.
Yeah. And we are getting tasks from a cloud online, but we don't have video classrooms. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it works, and we continue doing schoolwork. Yeah. I don't know if you can see us right now and hear us.
Mm-hmm. Can you? Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just because of the long distance, probably.
Yeah.
Not so easy.
That's what I heard. I was messaging my exchange student that I stayed with yesterday to tell her about all this. And she said that, so she's one of the oldest students at her school, and she's about to graduate and leave. And she said that her year is they're the only students that are allowed to go back in because they're taking their exams and everything. Mm-hmm. Everyone else is just from home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. They don't have a prom right now, and they can't celebrate their graduation, and that's a bit sad for them. Yeah.
I think here a lot of the seniors have pushed back their graduation. I know that Williamson County, where I'm from at least, they are going to do it in July, which I think is fun. That way they'll still have a chance to have the graduation. But it has been a little crazy for me too. So I got sent home from college. So I was at college about 5 hours away in Alabama. And so the coronavirus has, sent all of us home. We found out over spring break that we all had to go home, and it's been weird adjusting and learning how to live with my family again. It's been a little funny, but it's been good. Yeah, I've just been doing college online. I have my last exam tomorrow, and then I'll be done with my first year. So,
oh my God.
I think the college students in Germany work from home too. My sister is in college or in university, and they're getting tasks at home too. Yeah.
How well are people actually quarantining in Germany? Do you feel like everyone is kind of following the rules,
Most people, yeah. We have to wear masks whenever we enter a supermarket or something. So, and everyone does it. It's just, it's normal now. And everyone follows the rules.
Yeah, and we have to wear masks in the public traffic.
Yeah, as well, on buses and trains and whatever.
So we have a couple of questions from the students. One wants to know, what time is it in Germany right now?
It's 6
p.m.
6 p.m. Yeah.
It's 11:18 now a.m. here. So it's morning here and it's evening there. Another Hayden wants to know what life is like in Germany for students. So what is it normally when it's not a pandemic?
Well,
I think it's different to the state you live in Germany, but
it depends. Yeah,
it depends where you live. But I think our school starts normally.
What's that? At a quarter to 8, we start school, and then normally we have until 1:15 or sometimes 3:15 in the afternoon.
And we are in classes, and all the lessons we stay in classes, and we don't have.
We don't have courses. Well, we have courses, but not yet so many. And also we can't. I know that in the States you can choose the level of a course, but we can't do this here. We have to take whatever we get. And
and we are separated in the schools. And after primary school, we can decide if we go to Sekundarschule or Gymnasium.
Yeah, you can do only secondary school, and then you finish with after 10 years of school, or you do grammar school, and then you do your A levels as well. But I know in the States everyone does 12 years, and then you decide whether you go to college or whatever. But here it's different.
Yeah, the two different tracks are, one is more of a technical school to get people prepared for a career after high school, and then the other is more of a college track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how your science classes work. Do you have biology every year for 4 years instead of in the United States? We have biology for 1 year and chemistry for the next year. How do you do it in Germany?
No, we have every subject every year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you study biology and chemistry and physics every year. Wow.
Yeah.
In the primary school, we have a subject that includes physics and
chemistry and biology and geography.
But in the secondary school, we have all separated
subjects.
But so now
we have some more questions about what's the food like there. And Lauren, I would love to hear your thoughts on what you encountered when you first went to Germany and what you thought about the food.
A little funny story of the first day in Germany. So the first night or the first morning we were there, so we're all staying in different houses, and then the Nashville students would meet up in the morning so that we could go about and, go through our daily schedule. But our meeting place every morning and every evening was the McDonald's in Magdeburg, because it was in the center, so it was easy for us to meet there. But they all also figured, okay, well, if they hate our food, we can just have them at McDonald's every morning. That way they can all eat their food. But we all actually loved the food they cooked for us. my favorite, actually the weirdest thing they made for me was pizza with tuna on top. Do you guys eat tuna pizza?
Yeah.
You don't know this?
No, I don't know anyone here that eats tuna pizza. That was brand new to me. But it was their favorite meal as a family, so I had it several times while I was there.
There are some people that will put anchovies on pizza here, but that's a little bit rare.
Yeah, that's a little bit out there. And then I also really liked how, I think in America there's a lot of emphasis on eating meat with meals, or sometimes, you know, your meat will take up half the plate. But I had a lot of dinners with the family where it would just be vegetables, or, you know, it would just be fruit, or the dessert would be fruit. And I really liked it a lot more. I felt like I was being a lot more balanced, and I guess trying new things. So
I think very typical for Germany is Bratwurst. It's like a sausage on the grill, and
Do you know
you
it?
can get it everywhere here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I also tried schnitzel. I really liked schnitzel.
Yeah.
Schnitzel is very good too.
But it's not German, it's actually Austrian.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah. Vienna.
my favorite thing is Kaffee und Kuchen, which I think
Oh, yeah.
4 o'clock in the afternoon to have pastries and coffee is a great time to sit down and enjoy sweets.
Yeah.
Always good.
Like many countries in Europe, coffee is a religion in Germany.
Yeah.
The quality is consistently high. I mean, here you can get good coffee, but not everywhere.
I think nearly every home has a big coffee machine to do their morning coffee. Yeah.
We also have one.
Yeah.
And talk about Brötchen just a little bit.
What, religion?
No, Brötchen.
Brötchen. Yeah. Brötchen are
Rolls.
Yeah.
And
buns. They're very tasty. But do you have them in America?
We do not.
We
Not
love
typically.
them.
They're sometimes sold as German hard rolls. They're sometimes called here, but they're not as good.
Yeah.
I think we eat them very often.
Yeah.
Every morning and every evening. In the evening we eat bread, and we
have all sorts of breads. We have dark bread and darker breads, and we have every sort of bread.
I read that Germany has the most bread.
Yeah, the widest range of breads in the world. So.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and,
what are some things that you guys do for fun there?
What do you want to say? What our hobbies?
Hobbies, or like, do you know, like, well, this is dating me, but American kids will sometimes go to the mall or go to a skate park. I don't know, Lauren, what do you do for fun? I'm not sure what kids do these days.
And my hobbies are playing football or soccer, and I play the accordion. I think it's a very German instrument. Yeah, and I'm an accordion band, and we have gigs sometimes.
It's really cool.
She watched the gig, yeah. And in our free time we visit friends, and I like photography.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or we ride our bikes around the city. We have great cycleways here in Magdeburg. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Well, and I play the piano and badminton.
Lauren, what was one of your favorite things about visiting Germany?
Some of my favorite things that we did were things that weren't even on the schedule, or just roaming around the city and getting to see the architecture, and how, because of all the history that's happened there, and how in the past a lot of the really old buildings were destroyed, you would see this centuries old castle right next to this brand new building that looked like the Google headquarters or something. And it was just crazy to see really old buildings next to the brand new. And on my free weekend, my family, we drove 3 hours away from Magdeburg to a town that I can't pronounce. I'm sorry. But we visited a castle, and then we walked around this little village that looked like it was out of a movie. Huh?
Is it Wernigerode?
I think it started with a W.
Yeah.
Wernigerode. I think.
Okay.
It's in the Harz, right? Is it in the Harz?
Yeah.
It's in the Harz, in the mountains. No,
Yes.
not mountains, but yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It was very beautiful, and we went to a crepe shop and had crepes there, and they were amazing. Because even though it wasn't France, you know, I think you guys have a lot more influence from those countries food-wise.
Yeah.
So it was the best crepes I'd ever had.
Yeah, they're really tasty. It's true.
Yeah.
So, Lena and Benita, what is something that you're looking forward to about America, or what do you think is weird about us?
Well, we're looking forward to everything because, well, the United States are just, they're always present in the media and the radio and wherever we go. And so it's very exciting to be there, no matter where actually, but just being there is already, I think it's a great adventure.
For me, it's a bit weird it's a weird fact that a lot of Americans aren't interested in politics, and here nearly everyone talks about politics and what the government does. And I heard in America it isn't.
Is it common that you talk about it or about politics?
I think so. I talk a lot with my friends about politics, but I think that people here are very hesitant to, because it can be very controversial with a lot of stuff going on. So
okay,
it's a more difficult topic to talk about, but we do like to talk about it.
And can we ask you, are you Democratic or are you Republican?
My family would call themselves Republican, but this is going to be my first year voting because I'm 19 and we get to vote at 18.
Okay.
So we'll see who I vote for. We don't know.
Okay.
Another special fact for me is that the Americans can drive when they are 16 or 15. I don't know.
Wow.
That's
that's crazy for us.
Because you drive at 18.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that scared my exchange student when she visited, because she was 15 and I had just turned 16 that month. And so I was driving her all around the city in the car. And she was like, "Are you old enough?"
When we had an exchange student a few years ago, my youngest son had just turned 16 and just got in his car, and our exchange student was a year older than him, 17, and so she was like, "This is not fair."
You have an accordion in the background now.
Yeah, that's accordion. This was actually in Slovenia.
Yeah.
Where this accordion player was.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Can we get a concert from Lena before we go? Can you do a song for us on the accordion?
Du Akkordeon spielst. Well, Benita, she doesn't have it here.
I don't have it here.
But maybe we play. Nee, können wir das dann mal machen?
Yeah, maybe next
next time.
The next time.
Maybe she plays for you.
Yeah.
So
have either of you been to the United States?
No, we have never been there. Never been over the Atlantic.
Yeah.
What
is your impression? What are your impressions as Germans about Nashville and Tennessee? What do you immediately think of?
Well, we know that it's known for country music.
Yeah.
That's what we mainly know, and there's a TV series which is called Nashville as well. I haven't seen it. My uncle has seen it.
Yeah, when I talked about Nashville to my parents, they thought about country music too, and and I'm
excited.
I'm excited for the skyline because in America the buildings are higher than in Germany, I think.
And modern, also modern.
Very modern city, I think.
Yeah, we're really looking forward.
Yeah.
if it happens.
Hopefully you'll get to fly in through New York so you can see a really big city compared to Nashville.
Is there anything in particular that's on your, we call it a bucket list here, something that you really want to do when you come to?
Was du wirklich in Nashville machen willst? Was willst du unbedingt in Nashville? Well, first of all, maybe a tour around the city so we get an impression of everything, because we don't really think of a special thing, but we would like to get to know everything, and the people especially. To talk to you is just it's great. It's a great opportunity for us.
So we are almost out of time. I think when you guys come to visit, you should, that's my husband, he's shutting the door. I think you guys you should think about performing with your accordion and piano on stage and sing us a country song. I'm teasing you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, Lauren, that you wanted to share about your experience before we end the program?
I'm all good. Just that I had so much fun, and it's been a few years since I was in Magdeburg, but I really hope I get to go back one day and visit all of my friends. Lena and Benita, I really hope you guys get to come after all of this coronavirus craziness, because you're gonna make friends for life. So.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for participating in this program. I learned a lot about Germany, and I hope we can use this to teach some other people about how wonderful it is there, and the power of getting to know people from other countries. So that said, thank you guys so much, and thank you, Lauren, for sharing your experience too, and Berkeley and Tom. I'm gonna let everybody turn on their camera and say goodbye. How do you say goodbye in German?
Tschüss, or tschüss.
Yeah, tschüss.
Tschüss.
Carson, can you say goodbye?
Auf Wiedersehen.